two of America's most famous aircraft manufacturers in concert, and here is the result. In from the right, the US Air Force Bell Boeing Cv22B Osprey.
Tiger 2-1, roger, just hold position as the red arrows depart first before you can taxi the lorry back.
And it is under the power of the two Rolls-Royce Allison A1176 turbocharged engines. Those rotors or propellers, depending on which mode the aircraft is flying in, have a diameter of 11.6 metres, that's 38 feet, so they are very sizable. They contain these wingtip mounted pods with rotors swivel to allow the aircraft to transition between vertical and horizontal flight. And there are significant advantages to be had over the conventional helicopter. In fact, this has proved itself on the Osprey, both of the US Air Force and US Marine Corps in operational theatres. Yes, you see the aircraft come through here, doing around about 240 knots, and you see the extreme range of speeds that this aircraft can fly at during this very, very impressive display. I did a tour on the ground in Afghanistan about 5 years ago, and in the first half of that tour, we were flying around the country. You could be called anywhere in the country within a moment's notice, and it would generally take half a day in a Black Hawk or a Chinook. But as soon as this aircraft arrived in Kabul and started transporting us around, it really did shrink the country, and virtually half of the transit times to most of the parts of the theatre that we were travelling to. First flight of the V22 prototype, I should say, took place in March 1989. The US Marine Corps brought its MV22B variants into service first. In March 2000 for training, they were declared operational in 2005. The US Air Force with this Cv22B Special Operations version followed the initial ones on test in September 2000, began training on the type in August 2006, declared operational in January 2007. Now, they're able to here to make a rolling vertical landing of the Yes, when compared to a conventional helicopter, the rotationist on a conventional helicopter generally moves no more than about 10 degrees. So 10 degrees of its thrust is moving the aircraft forward, whereas this moves up to 90 degrees, therefore when it is in wingborne flight, 100% of that thrust moves the aircraft forward. It's capable of virtually twice the speed of those helicopters.
When all the red arrows are parked, taxi to Foxtrot North for runway 27. When the red arrows are
move forward to about 8 degrees there for that tactical takeoff. The idea being there to demonstrate physical penetration descent. This being, as I said, a special operations platform, it performs special ops missions, long-range missions in support of US Special Operations Command forces. It's able to infiltrate those forces into hostile zones, resupply them while they're on the ground, and exfiltrate them once the mission has been completed. The Cv22B has a combat radius of about 500 nautical miles with its single internal auxiliary fuel tank, but it's able to air-to-air refuel from MC-130 Hercules Special Operations tankers, giving it a range of more than 2,000 nautical miles and up to 5 hours endurance. The Osprey can carry a .50 caliber machine gun on the rear ramp, which we saw open earlier in the display. Also, of course, hoists and fast roping equipment for those special forces infiltrations and exfiltrations. I think also one of the most important roles where this aircraft comes into its own is the casualty evacuation role. In particular, in the time it was in Afghanistan, it would be able to transit at very high speed to pick up the casualties, to get them back to places such as Bastion, within what we call the golden hour, which is critical for the preservation of life for injured soldiers. And they've also been used in US Marine Corps service in earthquake and other disaster relief missions, notably after the 2010 Haitian earthquake. Here we see the Osprey now in the hover down at the eastern end of the airfield. This aircraft from the 7th Special Operations Squadron, part of the 352nd Special Operations Wing, stationed at RAF Milton Hall in Suffolk, and it's given that unit back its vertical lift capability that it had lost with the retirement of the very successful Sikorsky MH-53 payload helicopters that it operated prior to that. Now, with more hovering around the display segment, very much enjoyed operating the Osprey so far. It's looking at increasing its capabilities, looking at giving them further armament, and it's fitting a forward-firing gun. There are lots of further developments being studied for the Osprey, the current operations, also with a view to increasing the overseas order book, which currently to strengthening ground self-defense force as the first foreign operator. Of course, that multi-role and twin-role platforms are very much in vogue with modern militaries for very good operational reasons. Boeing looking at anti-submarine warfare and gunships versions of the Osprey, rocket missile armament on them. The Marine Corps Osprey, some of which we've seen at Riat in the past, going to become air-to-air refueling tankers themselves. Of course, that's another illustration of the wide speed range of the Osprey. They won't just be able to refuel helicopters, but also fixed-wing aircraft such as the F-35 Lightning II. Yes, and that ability to be an organic tanker is something that really does increase the force and the multiplication of what assets you have. Because you don't actually have to rely on external assets and external finance. And of course that was something that we had very big success with back in the 60s and 70s with the Buccaneers on board HMS Ark Royal in the Buddy air-to-air refueling role. Turning low at the western end of the airfield, ready to make another fast pass. Of course, one of the highest profile roles for the Osprey has been with Presidential Transport, and the US Marine Corps Presidential Transport Squadron HMX-1 uses Ospreys to carry support personnel and the media entourage, and 44 are being procured as carrier onboard delivery aircraft for the US Navy. So there, the final pass by the Cv22B Osprey from the 7th Special Operations Squadron of the US Air Force at RAF Milton Hall in Suffolk. A very impressive demonstration of its capabilities. Well, now we turn to